Hello and welcome to my opinion archive. In today's video I'm going to do something a little bit different from my usual videos. I'm going to try something new. Instead of talking about a game series or a film series, I'm going to talk about a concept, which is the Sith Order from the Star Wars universe. I'm going to talk about how this order functions and how it changes throughout the timeline in the Star Wars universe, and the problems that this order makes when it controls the galaxy and functions as a form of government. I'm not going to go into the history of the Sith Order. I'm going to talk about a few parts of the history of the Order and how it changes throughout the history of the Star Wars universe and why, but I'm not going to go too deep into the bigger history of the Order and all of the battles and all of the important people, but I'm going to find some links to some videos about the specific Sith Order in that time period I'm talking about, so you can get a better idea about who they were and which people were part of it and what happened to it. All the information I'm going to be using in this video is going to be legend material, and if you don't know what legend is, it's all the materials about Star Wars, all the books, all the comics that were made before Disney bought it. It's under the label called Legends, which means that the info in this video is not going to have any relation with anything that's going to be happening in the new films or new comics, unless Disney decides to make any of this info canon again, and for that to happen it would have to be in a book or a movie. I'm going to start with talking about how the Sith Order came into existence, and then I'm going to tell you about what the Order is all about. The Sith Order, or the ancient Sith Order, was created by exiled Dark Jedi. These are Jedi who were starting to use the dark side, and for that they were exiled from the Jedi Order and found themselves on a planet called Korriban, where there lived a species who also used the dark side of the Force. And the exiled Jedi took control over this planet, and over many generations they mixed their discoveries of the dark side with the species' discoveries of the dark side, and they also interbred the human Jedi and the native species called Sith, and this ended up by becoming what we now know as the Sith Order. It originated on this planet, and most of the Sith Order's philosophies were created, were a big part of this planet's society. Now remember, this is just a very brief explanation about the history of the Sith Order. There's much more to go into and many more details, but that's not the point of this video. Now I'm going to tell you about the Sith Order's philosophy, what it's all about. A very important thing to Sith Order is its code, its Sith code, which is almost an opposite to the Jedi code. It is: peace is a lie, there's only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. This code exemplifies the core of what it means to be Sith. Peace is a lie, there's only passion. Unlike the Jedi who focus on peace, on inner peace, the Sith focus on their passion and their strength, and they gain power through it. They focus on their emotions and let their emotions give them power, and through their power they gain strength, and they gain influence and power, and they gain victory over their enemies, whether those enemies are Jedi or fellow Sith. And through those victories, their chains are broken. They are free to do as they see fit. The Force shall free me, meaning as they get more powerful in the Force, they get the power to become free and do what they see fit, to follow their passions. Now, the Sith mentality of, for instance, through passion I gain power. It is I, not we, not the Order, but me as an individual. Creates a very problematic thing for a order of many people who all seek to gain power and become stronger. It makes a me mentality, which has been a very big problem for the Sith Order throughout the different time periods, because it's all about strength, and the strongest survive, and the strongest get to be a part of the Order, which sounds good because then the Sith you have are only strong and powerful. But the fact is that this has created this mentality in the Sith Order that if you aren't strong enough, you deserve to die. So the Sith Order kills a lot of members and a lot of potential recruits because they aren't strong enough to survive their trials, which create a very big problem for the Sith Order because it loses out on many, many individuals. There's potential for many more people to contribute to the Sith Order or the Sith Empire. Of course, from the Sith Order's point of view, this is to avoid weak people becoming part of the Order, but it actually just limits them to the amount of people who contribute and help defeat their enemies. A thing that has always plagued the Sith Order through many of its different innovations is that everyone keeps secrets from one another. The Sith Order, unlike the Jedi, are not about sharing information and sharing secrets in the Force. They keep it. The Sith Master will keep secrets from his apprentice. The idea of this is to make the Master the more powerful, so he doesn't get killed or removed by his apprentice. But what this really makes the Sith Order is it will be filled with a lot of lesser Sith, because the apprentices won't know things, not because they aren't ready to learn them, but because their master specifically keeps it away from them. This means that a lot of things will have to either be relearned or will potentially disappear altogether once the master dies. And this has meant that the Sith Order has been very much stopping itself, because Sith apprentices might get killed in big wars because they don't know the information that their masters have kept from them. And information that one Sith discovers may disappear, might never reappear. Rituals that could make Sith stronger is not available to everyone, so the entirety of the Order isn't as strong as it could be. The Sith Order's mentality of I have to become as powerful as I can possibly become so I can keep sort of living and become a powerful Sith. It has one benefit, and that is that it makes very strong Sith, because everyone's focused about becoming as powerful as possible. But what this also makes is that it makes Siths plot against one another. There is no loyalty within the Sith Order. You aren't loyal to your master, you aren't loyal to your superiors, and you are always looking for a way to bring them down or to get more powerful by yourself. This has been a huge problem because the leaders of the Sith Order throughout time periods are either so powerful and so self-absorbed that they simply do not think of the betterment of the Empire, or that they are constantly being plotted against. Think about it. In our society, if every single minister in a parliament was secretly plotting against the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister actually knew this, it wouldn't make the parliament very functional. It wouldn't make it a good way of controlling a country, and this is what makes the Sith Order a very problematic governmental form, because no one has any loyalty. Everyone's about to become the most powerful, but no one really acts on the best interest of the Sith Order. I think this point is very well exemplified in the battle between Naga Sadow and Ludo Kress. These people were two ancient Sith Lords who fought over who was to become the leader of the Sith Empire. But this ultimately ended in one of them winning and presuming the other one dead. And then Naga Sadow, who was the one who won, he went to war with the Republic. But when it didn't go very well and he came back, he actually ended up by discovering that Ludo Kress wasn't dead. And he ended up having to fight Ludo Kress, and then afterwards fighting the Republic, which really ended up really destroying the Empire, which then had to go into exile in order to survive. And this brings us to one of the innovations of the Empire, which I'm going to talk about now. It's known as the post-Great Hyperspace War Sith Empire. And if you want to know what the Great Hyperspace War is, then I will find a video that describes that and put a link in the description. This Sith Order is, unlike the ones from the original movies, filled with a lot of Sith. And this creates a very big problem for the Sith Order, that there are simply too many Siths, which means that a lot of less powerful Sith can go together and kill a more powerful Sith, and then potentially turn on one another about who gets his or her position, which makes a big problem for the Sith Order as a whole, because more powerful Sith get killed and replaced by less powerful Sith, and a lot of Sith may actually die due to this infighting. Another problem that the Sith Order faces is that a lot of Sith, as per Sith tradition, is focused on becoming more powerful by themselves and outmaneuvering their enemies, which isn't just the Jedi in their eyes, it's their superiors and those beneath them who might plot against them. So a lot of these Sith focus on becoming stronger, but not on winning the war against the Republic. Many of them put their talents to use, for instance, making spy networks, which could be really useful against the Jedi or the Republic, but they use it against everyone. They put in spies in the Empire and spies that work for themselves into their enemies' ranks, instead of putting these knowledge to use against the enemy. They simply focus on almost defeating each other instead of defeating the Republic. If many of these powerful Sith decided to unite and focus on destroying the Republic, I actually think they could be really, really dangerous. More dangerous than they already are. This Sith Order is a government, so it has a lot of plans under control. And what this Sith Order does is that it keeps slaves, many of them being aliens. And this is a very big problem because, well, both slavery is a wrong thing, but if you think about it, then it simply just creates less unity. It means that there's a bunch of people within their own empire who is building things for them, who aren't loyal to them, who doesn't really like the empire, which the Republic could very easily exploit. It also means that all of these slaves and aliens who are being just deprived of food and any sort of knowledge about what they're doing, if they decided to make them a part of the empire, they could become far more competent. You have slaves doing building construction work, but if you decided to make them part of the empire, you could teach them about it and make far better, far more efficient things and far more superior buildings potentially, because there would be a lot of workers who would be competent and they would be loyal to the empire. Another problem the Sith Empire faces is that it has what I would describe as Sith supremacy. The Sith, no matter who they are, no matter if they are an apprentice or the highest of the most powerful in the Empire, their orders are superior to any Imperial Admiral, General, or Captain, however more experienced or however superior their ideas or plans are. And the Sith really embrace this. And this makes a really big problem for the Imperials, which are the normal, by the way, it's the normal inhabitants of the Empire. All those who doesn't have the Force, they're backbone of the military. They frequently just get completely and utterly ignored and sent on really weird and pointless missions because some Sith wants some artifact, or some Sith wants to destroy a rival, so he sends military personnel to different places, or some Sith just wants to win this battle to prove how great he or she is. And some of the Imperials might have a far better strategic tactic, but the Sith just decide something completely and utterly reckless and completely and utterly weird, because they are the Sith. And this makes for a very, very poor use of the military and the Imperials in the military. Now, this Sith Order is controlled by what's known as the Dark Council, which is a council of, I believe, 12 Sith Lords who rule different parts of the Empire, like economy or the military, or all of different parts of the Empire. These are the strongest and most powerful Sith, which doesn't sound very bad. The strongest, the most powerful people rule. That's the Sith idea. But the problem is these aren't necessarily the most competent people. They might not have any idea about economy or military strategy or anything, but they can and will be put in charge of these organizations if they find a way to get to the top of the empire. And the problem with this is that they can do whatever they want with their resources to an extent. I mean, the other Dark Council members does keep an eye on them, but mostly they can just do whatever they want, even if it's not directly contributing to whatever they are in control of. Their word is law, so if a Sith Dark Council member says, we do this, you do that, or you die, which is really, really problematic because they can basically do whatever they want with their resources. And if I don't know where I have heard this, but I've heard that the suspected time a person serves in the Dark Council is like a week. I can't find anything to support this. But even if it's not true, the Sith Empire is filled with people plotting to kill the leaders to get their position. So it will often mean that a lot of new members get frequently given positions of power, which means that very quickly ideas and goals can change because a new person is made a member of the Dark Council, which really creates no focus for the respective parts of the empire. It can change from one day to another, and projects can be cancelled without any warning, which is a really bad way of controlling any part of a galaxy, especially if you're in war, because there has to be a focus, there has to be an overall goal, but that isn't the focus necessarily of the Dark Council members. Now, a good thing about the Dark Council is that they actually do try to stop the infighting and power plays between the Sith, but this isn't really done in a very good way because it's in the nature of the Sith to want to get more powerful. The only way to advance in the ranks is to either find a way to kill your superior or wait until your superior dies. So they don't really have a system. And this just makes people far more dangerous because Sith have to be secret about it. They can't just go up and challenge their superiors. So they have to think and be cunning. And this makes it even more dangerous because they might find ways to kill their master that will involve more casualties, like, for instance, sabotage or just doing things that could make a lot of Imperials or other Sith get killed in the process, which really just creates more death and more waste of people, manpower, resources. Now, there have been a version of the Sith Order who tried to do away with the infighting, and that's what we're going to talk about next time. That's right, this is actually going to be a series, because there's a lot more and different versions of the Sith Order that I'm going to talk about. So this has been all for this video. As always, this has been My Opinion Archive. I really hope you liked this video and would like to continue watching this series and, try to watch some of my other videos. If you have anything to add to this discussion, I would really like to hear about it. Anything you have to say about the Sith Order, or anything about the Sith in general. I may have some more positive sides. I have tried to find some, but I didn't think it was very easy. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and have a super nice day.